Hello and welcome. I'm glad that you are joining me here today to talk about books. Today's book fulfilled the prompt to reread a favorite book and give yourself time to do something you enjoy but haven't had time to do. So we will talk about the book prompt first, we'll talk about similar books, and then we'll talk about what I did. So the book that I reread was Ordinary People, which is by Judith Guest. And it was first published in 1976. It was the author's first book. It's adult fiction, but it's completely appropriate for the YA age group. I first read it in high school and have read it several times since, but I was surprised to find out that it's been at least 10 years since I've read it last. So I was very excited that I chose this for my book to read or reread, and glad to have the opportunity to read it because I still love it. The Jarrett family has endured a tragedy in which their oldest son, Buck, drowned. The younger son, Conrad, was with him at the time of the drowning, and he quite honestly is experiencing a lot of guilt. The book begins just after Conrad has been released from a psychiatric hospital. He was there after trying to kill himself. The story is told from two viewpoints. It's told from the viewpoint of Conrad and his father, Calvin. In addition to just having left the hospital, school is beginning, and so Conrad is returning to school. He's determined that he's going to make up all the classes that he missed the year before, and he's going to rejoin the swim team, which he was on. He's feeling, as he says, on stage, and he wants to have more control over his life. His dad encourages him to seek the help of a psychiatrist that was recommended by his doctor, and so reluctantly he does. Calvin carries around a lot of guilt too. He can't believe that he couldn't see the signs that, looking back now, were so obvious that Conrad was struggling. And he's trying to keep the family together and ensure that Conrad has access to all the tools he needs to help him stay healthy. But Cal feels caught between his wife and his son. And try as he might, he cannot seem to bring them together. It's telling that the story is not told from the mother-wife's viewpoint. She's not the easiest character to understand, but she, along with the rest of the family, has endured so much pain and is struggling to deal with it. Basically, it's the story of an ordinary family coping with a tragedy. It's believable, heartwarming, and ultimately uplifting. And we're approaching the perfect time of year to read this book. It begins in the fall at the start of the school year, and we're approaching the start of the school year, so it's a perfect blend of when the story takes place and what the weather is like now. There is a movie adaptation of this story from 1980, and if you have an opportunity, I encourage you to watch it. I'm not going to lie, it had been years since I read the book, but I watch the movie every couple of years. It takes less time than reading the whole book, but it won an Oscar for supporting actor, screenplay, director, and picture, and it's a quality movie. And although they did not win Oscars, Donald Sutherland as Calvin, Mary Tyler Moore as the mom, Beth, and Judd Hirsch as the psychiatrist all have impactful roles, in addition to Timothy Hutton's Oscar-winning performance as Conrad. What are other titles to read for a similar experience? And we're talking emotionally impactful books. First up is a young adult book that I have talked about before, We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. The Sinclair family summers on their private island every year. Caddy and her cousins and friends spend their time together while they are on the island. But the previous year something happened, and Caddy cannot remember what it was. She has emailed her cousins and received no reply. Her mother won't talk about it either, but they are headed back to the island this summer and she is determined to get some answers. You will love the friendship between the cousins. You may be troubled by the behavior of their grandfather, and you'll probably be concerned about the parents' behavior as well. The prequel, Family of Liars, was published in 2022, and it is a very good read also. It gives background information, and you will see how the occurrences of We Were Liars have been set up by the family's behavior in the past. The next book I'll mention is not yet released, so obviously I have not read it, but it will be released in October, and it seems like it's going to be amazing. It's The Glass Girl by Kathleen Glasgow. Bella is struggling. Everyone seems to want something for her, whether it's helping around the house, not making waves, or not being so much. The only one in her life who never makes demand on her is her grandmother, and she has recently died. Bella turns to alcohol to dull the pain and make life more bearable. She reasons that everyone drinks, so she really doesn't see what the problem is. Then she wakes up in the hospital after drinking too much, and it's time to make some changes, and that starts with rehab. Deeply compassionate, The Glass Girl takes a look at what causes young women to turn to addiction and explores what it will take to heal. Now for the reading prompt, which was to give myself some time to do something that I enjoy doing but haven't had time to do. And I did a couple things. Something I really enjoyed as a kid was to lay on our front step and just look at the sky, especially the clouds. And I made the time at the end of the previous week to lay on our deck and just look at the sky and enjoy nature. And that was really fun. But I did another thing which really has helped me a lot. And if you started watching these videos back when I began doing them, you may remember that there was a video where I made a journal. And in that video, I talked about how I benefit from writing in journals. I'll include a link to that video if I'm able to. And I'll set it to start at the part of the video where I'm talking about journaling. So there was a period of time when I was able to write in my journal every morning before work. And I found that it helped me in two ways. First, I just wrote whatever came into my head. So if something was bothering me, I got it down on paper and I didn't obsess or think about it for the rest of the day. I was also able to write down what I needed to accomplish that day and figure out a plan for how to accomplish it. And I still do that part. I just sometimes do it at the end of the previous day instead of the start of the day. So I know you know where this is going. I took the time to write in my journal, and it reminded me of how much that helps to clear my mind and makes me truly enjoy my day. And there we are. We'll be back very soon, hopefully later this week. We're going to talk about the book Carrie, and it is by Stephen King. I'll let you know how scary it is. I hope to see you then, and until then, I hope that you enjoy all that you do and all that you read. And thank you.